Welcome to our two comic cast.
Oh,
What is
Right.
happening?
Welcome to our two comic casts where superheroes exist and comic book talk is the norm. It's your host Mo Crosby. I'm back today to do a movie review, a full review. So that means it's going to be spoilers. I'm saying it right here. If you haven't seen this movie yet, as you can see by the banner, the music, everything is telling you we're about to review. We're reviewing Wonder Woman 1984. With me to do the review today, I have Bree.
Hi.
Ray,
Yo,
KB.
what's good? Trap guy with the dad bod.
Yes, sir. Last but not
Okay.
oh yeah, you haven't done a show with KB yet, so it's all good.
no, don't
Yeah.
ever put me after him again. I don't have a catchphrase to come into. Now I just look.
Oh, I didn't run the gambit. I just did that. There's a gambit catchphrase.
Anyways, so I'm going to start with Bree. Short, how you felt when the movie ended, because we're going to do a full review. So before we go into everyone's bad and great thoughts, let's just when the movie ended, how did it make you feel? Like at the credits, both credits, how like at the final credits, how did you feel at the end of the movie?
Good.
Okay, that's good. Ray?
Question mark.
I mean, it was good. I liked it.
Right.
Enjoyed it.
I felt like. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, that's it.
All right, I felt like that was a movie. All right, I'm being a bit rough. Like, I think I've gotten used to being able to rate comic book movies as regular movies now, because like I used to have like a separate scale, like rating a movie as a comic book movie and then rating a movie as a regular movie. And they've gotten to the point now where I can watch some comic book movies and be like, oh, this is just a good movie. I don't feel like Wonder Woman was a very good movie, but it was a pretty good comic book movie. I have to rate it separately.
That makes sense. King, since you said don't let you go.
Don't do it.
Okay, so how did you feel when the credits were scrolling? How did you feel about the movie?
About the movie as a whole.
Yeah,
I
just
was cool.
at the end of it.
At the end of the credits, I was disappointed because I watched the mid-credit scene, and then I was expecting something for the complete after credits, and there was nothing. So
The the mid-credit scene got me like annoyed, but I'll get to that when we start talking.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. KB, how did you feel once the credits were going and you finally finished this movie? How did it make you feel?
So I'm in Ray's category and Ray's box on this one. Like I thought it wasn't a good movie per se, but it was a decent comic book movie. And even then, it kind of hurts to say that because I feel like since 2012, comic book movies, there's been a lot more acts and a lot more given. And I feel like this one kind of took a step back in comparison to the first Wonder Woman movie.
That is fair. Now we're gonna get into the movie. We're gonna actually try to.
What about yours?
Oh, I thought. Oh wow! I never get to do this, so I wasn't prepared. I'm sorry. I thought it was okay. I thought at the end of the movie, I was like, it could have been worse. There was still more to like because, and I think the reason I did I felt that way is because the first about 20 minutes were really exciting and it kind of got your attention. And so I'm saying in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, like, okay, this is how you're coming. All right, bet, let's go. And then at the end of the movie, I'm like, damn. I guess the movie really stopped after the first 20 minutes, but it could have been worse.
when I put out my debut movie, that is the review I want. Like, I want a headline that says Shaquem's new movie could have been worse.
I mean, if you put out a first movie and people are like, yeah, could have been worse, like, that means that they found redeeming qualities in there somewhere.
Right. And so that's where we're gonna go. So let's do the negatives. let's start with Bree. What when you
About
were
me
when you,
first.
okay? Let's start with Ray because I feel like
Okay. All
he
right.
has quite a
Um,
lot.
I
Your
don't I don't
negatives,
I don't mind comic book movies being campy, but I do mind when they're campy while taking themselves like really seriously.
Mhm.
You know?
mm,
So like Shazam was campy, but it didn't take itself seriously.
right?
Aquaman was sort of campy and sort of serious. It didn't have the issue Wonder Woman has where
Had
everything
a
just
nice
looks
balance, right?
yeah, it had a nice balance. Wonder Woman just like to me, this one looked a bit ridiculous, like ridiculously campy, but then like they were trying really hard to be serious, and I couldn't take like anything seriously. You know,
Mm.
I couldn't take anything seriously at all. 'Cause I'm sitting back and I'm watching the movie and I'm like, babe, it's been like 60 years. Sorry, it's been like 20 years since World War II. At some
20.
point,
It was 66.
yeah, sorry,
66 years.
66.
Mhm.
Yeah.
At some point, you gotta let this guy go. Like, come
Mhm.
on, stop carrying a torch for this dude. He's been dead longer than you've been alive.
Has he though?
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't actually know how old Diana is, so I'm just gonna pretend she's around the age she looks because in the first movie she was too naive to claim to be like hundreds of years old. You know, I,
I
either
don't know.
way, like I felt like there were a lot of choices they made in this movie that could have been a lot better. Now,
Mhm.
I love what they did with Minerva. Like I felt like it was a more modern take on the character because I'm sorry, the character's origins from way back when were not that great. I like the new take on her. I got a bit upset at the mid credit scene because I went, you guys were planning to do this and you thought it was a good idea to bring Chris Pine back when you could have had her mentoring Wonder Woman this entire time. Like I'm sorry, it was too much. And like that entire scene where she learned to fly, I was just like, I just want to fast forward this because this is entirely too much for me to deal with. Like you literally just ran away from him, and now you're having a flashback to what he said, like 2 scenes ago, and you're flying. Like it doesn't look like you actually learned how to do anything. It's like I'm getting mad.
That's
I'm
fair.
getting mad.
That's fair.
Because there's so much I do like about this movie. I did enjoy the movie, but the things I didn't like really, really grated on me.
Okay, now let's go back to Bree.
Oh,
What didn't you like about this movie?
I'm sure there are things while I was watching. I loved it. Even the stupid things. I loved how stupidly ridiculous and campy it was.
Right.
I thought really the only thing I could really focus on the entire movie was how much I hated Maxwell's hair.
Oh. But it was the 80s. And
I know.
It was
Bree,
the
were
80s.
you here in the 80s at
No.
all? Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, you missed the time in life.
Don't do that.
That might be why I liked it more too, because I was like, this happened. These people.
I feel like one of the things they should have done was like they had that little flashback to her child. That's how they pretty much started the movie off. I feel like they probably should have maybe broken that entire thing up and peppered it throughout the movie. So whenever she calls back to another lesson she learned, they'll have something like a flashback to her youth of her learning that lesson and then putting that lesson into action. Not we watch this whole like 14-minute intro and then like you drop the line at the end of the movie and you can't build whatever on the line or something like that. I feel like they could have done a lot more with that.
Yeah.
Right. King, what didn't you like?
So I have this memory. I was probably like 6 or 7, somewhere in there. And me and my cousin, who's more like my brother, we would always like play with our toys. So it would be like me and my Barbie dolls and my She-Ra action figures and him and his G.I. Joes or whatever. But we would always come up with like this batshit crazy scenario where we're like trying to beat some villain. So after one of these play sessions, like at the very end, we beat the villain and my little doll looks at his GI Joe, and I'm like, "You did it!" And he looks at me and says, "No, we did it." And we stopped, and we looked at each other like, "Oh, that was terrible." And like to this day, we still like go back to that. Like, "You did it." No, we did it. Oh, that was horrible. And that is what bugs me about this movie. It has that same like super cheesy feeling, like where I did enjoy it. I don't, don't get me wrong, but like especially in that scene where she's just like in the corner and we don't know that she's like tethered to Max with the lasso, and she's talking to everybody about, truth and all this other stuff. And I was just like, oh my God. Can you kill this man so we can just get on with our lives? Like,
I thought, like, all I could think was like, ooh, is she gonna break his neck? It didn't happen.
It did not.
And it was
happen.
It was more the original Wonder Woman route. But I was like, ooh, is that how they're gonna destroy the stone? Break that neck?
No, yeah, I'm my biggest disappointment.
Oh, you thought she was gonna Snyder
pull
move
the sacrifice. No,
Why not?
I wouldn't call it Snyder. It was an actual storyline where she stabbed Maxwell Lord's head.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Save the world.
In my opinion, she's out of the Trinity. She's the only one that's allowed to kill because she's a fucking warrior.
She killed a
she's
lot
the
in the
only
first
one
movie.
Yeah. I
Did not hesitate.
I always want the Diana that I've seen in all of the DC animated films, who was like, why are we taking pity on these niggas? No, let's kill them. Like, that's what I was looking for. And she sat there and made that long, sappy speech. And I was just like, this is not the same woman I cried over in the first movie.
Exactly my point.
All right, so there you go. Oh, I'm sorry, Bree. Go ahead.
I've read a lot of different versions of her, and her original one was the super sappy one, and a lot of the ones that I've liked is the super sappy one. So I like that in the original movie she was the warrior, but now that she's like growing up and like living amongst them, she's getting a little more sappy and finding that there are other ways. But at the same time, I was like, break that neck. So
you can do both, Bree.
You can do both.
Yeah, because Gail Simone's run on Wonder Woman, like her whole thing was like exemplifying compassion in Wonder Woman, but like when the chips were down, like she killed a dude.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I followed a whole blog where it was just they just like posted comic like screenshots of Diana killing.
Send me that link, Bree. Send me that link later.
All right. So I had three problems, three main stick out problems. The first one was the 4th of July. I'm like,
it came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Exactly.
It was supposed to come out in July.
I think it was supposed to come out in the summer. Like,
right, but did you see how everybody was dressed? That's what, like it caught me off guard.
It was kind of wintry.
It's the 4th of July.
Was it?
I
don't look at the clothes.
Exactly. Everybody was wearing like long sleeve, and like you're in DC.
It was like it was any other regular day, and then suddenly it was 4th of July.
Yeah, it's like the writers didn't realize. Okay, we're setting this in DC. DC gets hot as balls, like in the summertime.
July, yeah.
Yes, like I live in Baltimore, which is 40 minutes away from DC. It burns up here, and it's humid. You're right there on the waterfront. Matter of fact, there were shots in this that was shot near the waterfront in DC.
This was shot in Arlington.
Yeah, which is humid as can be.
I forget the train station they were in, LaFont Plaza. LaFont Plaza. I was like, oh my God, LaFont Plaza. I love it. But, it was like.
No, maybe I'm unaware, because I didn't live in DC, but are all the museums open on 4th of July?
Are they?
Do you guys go to museums?
I want to say
yes, but they're limited like holiday hours.
Yeah.
So it's like an early.
Because like I said, it seemed like it came out of nowhere. It seemed like they went to work and then they came out like, oh yeah, it's 4th of July.
You watch the fireworks on the lawn, not the lawn, on the
mall.
The mall. So yeah, I think it's a holiday hour type of thing. Yeah.
You could walk the mall. I think so. I know the African American Museum. That one you could go into on the 4th of July and on Martin Luther King Day, because I went there on Martin Luther King Day. So I think you can go in the Smithsonian especially in the 80s. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably go in there with all the weapons and stuff in the 80s. Now, like, you got to walk through all the metal detectors and leave your bags. And...
Yeah.
So KB, please.
Also, Minerva not dying, like the whole "I'm sorry" with the electricity, and then you do all that, the shocker, and then all of a sudden, oh no, we're good though. You know,
I mean, she had
like,
Wonder Woman strength.
Yeah, but
nah, she needed to die.
You just wanted some
being a bitch.
thing here. We want people to die in this movie.
Well, it made sense. Like the writing made sense for her to die. Like it just did. It went that direction.
Okay, they will go to work on Monday after the July 4th weekend, and it will be awkward as hell.
So awkward.
Thank you. The writing makes sense for her to die. Like, oh yeah, so that whole thing didn't happen. So, so you're not Wonder Woman, and I totally wasn't the evil villain that wished it.
Like she had no redemption arc to even, make you be like, oh my gosh, please let her like survive and
she didn't have a redemption arc.
No, she was like,
just showed her later, like, oh, she gave up her wish.
But do you blame her? Do you blame her heel turn though?
Yeah.
You do?
I think
I blame her. I blame her. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I feel like her heel turn is the most basic nerd to villain heel turn ever.
It annoys me.
We've seen in like a lot of Spider-Man 2. I'm sorry, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like nerd to
Jamie
villain.
Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like we've seen this. It's so it was another one, but I do like how she just didn't like heel turn. She just, I'm not giving this up. Like I'm finally something. So
she doubled down.
That's what I say. I don't feel like I blame her for doubling down on that, especially when she has something that she wanted. Like she feel like people are noticing her. She's finally popular.
Yeah, almost feels
she has all these PhDs, but nobody knows who she is until now. Now I have to go back to being nobody and go back to work on Monday. I feel bad because like it kind of sucks. Like maybe you should have died. It would have worked out better for you.
Yes.
I personally think like she is if I'm supposed to look at her as like another human being, she is able to see the consequences of what she has wrought and what it's done to everyone else. So like she can't be like, oh, like I'm finally popular now and like, you know what? Whatever I'm losing is just okay because the world is literally burning around her. She's like, nah,
that's Maxwell, not hers.
Like who? Yes, I understand that. But like, you could see what's going on around you from people making wishes, and you're still like, nah, I'm keeping this. Like, what's the point? How popular are you going to be when everyone's dead and burned up?
Matter of fact, not only am I not going to rescind my first wish, level my shit up. I don't want to be as strong as her. I want to be the best. Give me first.
And then like I said something today to someone about like the whole like perception of like nerds and like the person with the glasses who's socially awkward or whatever, and they become the villains. And you know what? Like I'd be mad about it, but like man, nerds suck. I'm sorry.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
Like, wow, you've angered the one person that's watching this, by the way.
Listen.
To the one fan that we have, you suck.
When I say nerds, I have a specific image in mind. They tend to look like that. They tend to be socially awkward. And then like some woman sleeps with some other dude and like they start gamergate. It's like nerds are really vindictive. They do that heel turn real quick. So like, I can't be mad. It did work. It makes sense that people that are socially inept at the second they get any amount of power, they're still socially inept. They don't realize that like, oh, maybe I need to chill the fuck out. Like that's what happens.
Right. I feel like that character was the most 80s thing I've ever watched.
She was good in 80s, especially like when you first get introduced to her and she's walking to work and she's got her sneakers on, like her low top Reebok princesses. Like every businesswoman in the 80s, like you had shoulder pads and your sneakers with socks with your tights on, like walking into the office. They nailed that. I'll give it that much.
Yeah, right. Got that right. What about Max walking away at the end? Like
you had one more thing. Is that the last one?
Yeah, Max walking away at the end.
No. That's where I agree with Bree. I feel like there should be consequences to actions, and I feel like, well, in Wonder
That's that
Woman
dick.
one, in Wonder Woman one, she killed Ludendorff. I mean, granted, she killed him because she thought he was Ares, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I didn't like that Max just gets to walk away after, and it seems like they all kept their memories after the events.
Yeah.
So
Which doesn't make sense for any of the stuff that happens in the
right,
future.
Right.
right. So it
Because
messed
how
with the
can
continuity.
BVS happen and nobody knew who Wonder Woman was? Uh,
I mean, I mean, the first thing she does when she gets in the mall is crush all the cameras. So that's I forget. I think it was a Rebirth comic that she did that in. For it was I think in her initial Rebirth run, they split her comics in two. There was one half that was doing like a year one type thing, and the other half was doing a arc with this god that gave Minerva back the cheetah powers. And so the God of War thing was split in two. So I think to your point, Kyle, why maybe they didn't kill Barbara is because she's tasted power and she's going to keep looking for it. I think it gives her a arc. If they bring her back in the next movie, it gives her something to do. I got this power. I got to go find how to get more of it or how to become this person again. That's what I see with Barbara. But Max Lord, you're right. He had no reason to survive. He should have
I
died.
think
also, how close was he to his son? Like that part was weird for me too.
He was a
Like,
terrible father.
like he walked out the studio and made his way straight to his son. Like what?
yeah. I don't
Like
know.
Yeah,
how close was he?
Helicopter, I
It
think.
was it
yeah.
was
He landed.
weird.
He landed back in DC and ran
Yeah,
to
On
San
Marine One, the Marine One brought him back.
and he knew
which
exactly where
again
his son
should
was.
have never happened. And so that brings me to my complaints. Is I think I have about three of them. Also, do we have? Oh wait,
It's
it's
me.
you.
Yeah,
Do we switch you over?
please.
Okay. So hey, King. Oh, never mind. The my complaints on this movie were definitely Maxwell Lord. He didn't die. That's fucking crazy. He should have died.
Snap.
Um, my and Ray also brought this up. I mean, I loved the story of Asteria. I loved seeing Linda Carter, but this is where I'm kind of like, I wish they had kind of aged her down a little because I'm thinking my thought process there is next movie is now you've brought this character in. Wonder Woman still kind of needs a mentor because she's fucked up. She fucked up the world in movie two. So she needs a mentor, and apparently Asteria has lived in the world of man and no one has known her or seen her and she's managed to keep her, herself tight. So you need someone to like coach her. The other thing is, do we keep this movie and everything that has happened at the end? My other point rather would be the mind wipe thing. So after everything that happened, no one gets their mind wiped. Like no one is like everyone remembers this,
It's
and
the
like
80s.
Kyle
They were
said,
all on drugs.
Also fair. A lot of
Mass
cocaine.
imagination.
A lot of
A lot of cocaine.
a lot of folks.
I just
When-
watched Wolf of Wall Street. They were all on drugs.
When did
Prelude.
I was about to say when
the
did
little
disco?
sister I
I was
deserve.
gonna say when did disco happen? Because I was about to say when did disco happen? If
That was
that's
like
the
the
case,
70s.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that
never
was
mind.
not
Then.
in the 80s.
So they're coming off the
Definitely
drugs.
the
They're coming off the drugs from disco. They're going into like But
Salutes.
one more thing. So for all the color this movie had, all the brightness it had, it waited till the final fight to wash it out and make it dark and gray. So where her
Spider
golden
effect.
armor was like kind of dull because I don't understand how all the posters showed that golden armor was bright. And I think they did that because the Jellicle Cat came through and they were like, so
I'm just gonna say Gold Star wore it better.
Gold Star did wear it better.
Yeah, he had a little more contrast in the wings. There was more detail.
It made his eyes pop.
No, but listen. So her design as Cheetah,
Why was it
again,
white?
yes, but this is my theory on that, right? This is where I start giving this movie kind of breaks, right? She's not full Cheetah here, right? She's just a version of it because Wonder Woman
Cheetah
3,
light.
yeah, Cheetah Light, definitely because she was white. Because in Wonder Woman 3, she's gonna chase the power and she's gonna go full Cheetah. It also didn't make sense that she wore the armor when she got her powers back because I would expect two of the reasons that she wear the armor is because Cheetah's claws can fuck her up. That's the
They did.
but she never did though. She didn't have her claws before.
I reckon what they did was they went looking into like Wonder Woman stuff and they're like, oh, that looks cool. We should add that to the movie. They didn't actually think about why and how,
I thought it was
she
just
would be
symbolism crap.
Zack Snyder.
Asteria saved everything for Themyscira, so she's about to do all her crap for the world. All
Yeah,
that.
but
So she
The
put
first
it on
place I
for the
remember-
culture.
The
For the
first place I
culture.
remember that armor. The first place I remember that armor showing up was in Kingdom Come.
right. So now that we've kind of gotten some of the negatives out, I feel like it's time to let's try to find the good in this movie.
Hey Mo,
Yes.
you have questions in the comments. People
Yo,
are
I
really
see
upset that Nubia was not in the movie.
So a lot of
wait,
people are
there's
upset that Nubia
comments?
was not in the movie. And so let me kind of give my theory on why Nubia wasn't in this movie, right? I think Nubia isn't going to be in this movie and she's not going to be in the next movie until we get to the Flash reboot or the Flash soft reboot. I think what's going to happen with that is at the end of Wonder Woman 3, Diana's going to go back to Themyscira and then one person is going to come back out and then they're going to set a new warrior to be Wonder Woman and it's probably going to be Nubia. Are you okay with that answer, Mike?
Mike and Lyndon.
Yeah, they both really want to know.
Yeah. Hey. I hear you.
Right. What do you guys think about my maybe?
I think they'd fuck it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad it wasn't in the movie. I think they'd fuck it up so hard.
And
Right.
Joss Whedon would find a way to make them light skinned.
Oh boy.
That just hurt my soul. Like, because all I'm picturing is they would give her the proper like chocolate tone, but then she would be like extra like even though she's
Washed out?
been scared this whole time, she would just come in and just jive turkey sucker, even if it's like 2020.
And
That's how I'm
oh
saying
my
it.
god.
That's exactly how I'm saying it. And like all of a sudden she's gonna randomly say booyah. Just like you can do it.
Because, yeah.
No, can you stop?
Wait, would Nubia be in Themyscira though?
She isn't
That's
she?
not
Yeah,
the
she is. She is in Themyscira. She is in Themyscira, and so yes,
That is
I mean
canon.
in the okay. I don't know if anyone read the Amazon's book that they were doing. This was in 52. There was a whole book about the Amazons, and she.
You good?
Yeah, I'm
Got-
good.
got
And
ghost
she was on Themyscira, and then I think she's in Injustice in the Injustice comic. She ends up being Wonder Woman and having to dump off and destroy Wonder Woman because she sided with Superman. So they had so she's on Themyscira. Now, Wonder Woman 1984. What did we like? Keen.
Oh, okay. I liked.
Come on.
No, there was a whole bunch that I liked. I loved seeing her beat motherfuckers with motherfuckers. Always something I love in movies. I loved like how they were trying to kind of show like the starting of sisterhood with her and Barbara, how like she could like see like she's lonely, I'm lonely, and even though they're like at two different spectrums of aesthetics, they could just kind of get together and bond and laugh and everything. That was going to be cool. But female friendships, Some of the graphics I liked, a lot of them, I guess this would be in my didn't like. Something just seemed a little like for us to
Wonky.
be in, yeah, like in this day and age, I'm just expecting more from graphics. Like I think Chris, when we were talking about it last night, he was like something didn't blend right, and I
A
agree
lot
with
of
that.
the running
Uncanny
scenes,
Valley.
a lot of the running scenes for me didn't like. It just seemed
It,
like she was. It stood out. That's all I'm gonna say. Is it stood
I
out
read
that?
somewhere that someone said that it looked like how Flash runs in the CW show. I felt
Facts.
so.
Facts.
I loved the humor in it. Like I did spend a lot of time laughing and smiling. Yeah, and you know,
Damn. That's it. Um.
I'm still thinking. Like
Okay, so let's move on. I'll
these
move on
questions
to Ray real
beforehand,
quick.
though.
What did you
All
What
right.
did you find interesting in this movie?
I'll dump this because it's 11:51 here, and I should go to bed soon.
Okay, yeah. Let's
Um,
get your.
Fair.
I appreciate the optimism in the movie, and I feel like superhero movies need to always have optimism. If you don't have optimism or don't end with optimism, I don't give a shit about your superhero movie. Um, I liked the relationship that Diana and Minerva had, but I feel like they should have leaned into that quite a lot more. I feel like Minerva's origin story was significantly better than I thought it would be. That's about all I think the movie had going for it.
Okay. What about Baba Jeed?
Like,
Oh,
number one, that's not how you pronounce a
that's
Nigerian.
definitely not how you pronounce the name.
Number two, that guy did not look like any Nigerian I've ever seen in my life. It's like someone went through the list and they went, that name.
Right.
List of exotic names, not John Smith, that name. And they went
Right.
with that. And they were like, how do you pronounce that? They didn't get anyone that knew how to pronounce it. They just went Baba Jeed.
Right. All right. So Ray, if you're about to go, where do you? Okay, I'm not gonna say where do you sit this movie in the DCEU because I know you don't give a fuck about the DCEU. But what is your rating of Wonder Woman 1984?
I would rate it between A and D. I'd give it a C plus, maybe a B minus. You know,
That's
like
not bad. I've actually
like
seen
it could have been a lot worse, but
it had so
there
much going
was-
for it.
yes, it had so much going for it, but ultimately it's a tale of wasted potential to me.
Mhm.
Like they could have done a lot of things a lot better. That would have moved this movie up a full grade level. And I can go back and go, I want to watch this movie again. This is a movie I don't want to watch again. Like I enjoyed it, but I'm not gonna put it up on again.
Okay.
I'll watch
Okay.
the other one. I'll watch the first one again.
Yeah. KB, what did you like about this movie?
Three things. I like the lighting of the film for the first two acts. Like they did a great job, like capturing that DC type film role while also having it like HD at the same time. I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. With the finish, I like how they did the monkey paw lore. Like that was really cool how they dived into that. And also liked how they explored grief, like with Wonder Woman. Like even though it's been 60 plus years since Chris Pine's character died, like I thought it was pretty cool how they explored the grief because I could tell you as a therapist, and I could tell you as somebody who has gone through grief myself, it doesn't go away. So like it's always in the back of your mind, like, dude, I do wish this person was still here. Like, or I wonder how things could be. So I think it's kind of cool, like placing somebody from a different time period in that time period that you were grieving, how that would go. And that whole adjustment piece. So I thought that was cool.
That's fair. Bree,
What's up?
go ahead. What did you like about this movie?
Bree like this
Everything.
movie A plus.
And don't spare any details.
A lot of
Before she
things.
starts, take it easy, guys. All right. Sorry
All
about
right,
that.
Ray. Thank you very much
Bye.
for
Good seeing you, Ray.
being with us, man.
Yep. Good
Catch you next time. All right, Bree, go for it. You
Okay.
have the floor.
So
All the
much shit.
things.
Duke of Deception. The fact that
Yes.
they used him was my favorite because he's like an original. How they did the invisible plane was stupid, but I loved it. Because how the hell is she just Narutoing shit up? And I did love the how in the first movie Steve showed her around and did the whole wardrobe thing and all that, and then this one she did it for Steve, and that was nice. Especially the NASA moment when she's like, "Look, we've been on the moon."
That was awesome.
That was nice. I did love everything they did with Cheetah. I do think they are going to lead it into. She didn't renounce her wish. I don't think so.
I don't think she did.
I think she did.
I don't think she did. I think once Maxwell, because she didn't become full Cheetah until Maxwell gave her like the other half of it, like more power.
She didn't make another wish. Yeah, she got that from Maxwell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so but she never renounced her wish. Like every other person they showed in that end scene, they said, I renounced my wish. She didn't. They just showed her looking lame on the mountaintop. So I'm thinking she might be in the next movie just because she might still have the powers of like Diana, but still lose the humanity and kindness and everything that was good about her.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the next movie, she is still like a doctor. She's an archaeologist or whatever. Mm-hmm. She might be looking for other shit. And that's maybe how we can get the Cheetah that we know.
Yeah, I still think there's a chance for that to happen.
There's a chance. And so like I'm hoping for that. Maxwell, he was annoying.
His hair.
his stupid hair, how he treated his son. Alistair! You never cared about him before.
This is not the way.
No. I caught that.
Okay. Oh, I was like, man, that fell flat. Okay.
Mandalorian, this is the way. Never mind.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay. But okay, what I did like about the movie.
You guys don't know humor. That's all this is.
No, you don't. What I did like about the movie, again, to Bree's point and to Kyle's point, the lighting, again, as I said, this movie looked good in the first couple halves, especially when there wasn't any action. Yeah, especially when there wasn't any action. The invisible jet scene, 4th of July, you can hate it, but the way the colors blended in with the jet around it, that looked
with the fireworks. Cool. Yeah, it was great. It was
impressive.
Yeah.
I liked, as Ray said before he left, I liked Diana's story in her learning that lesson as a kid, but it would have been nice if they cut it up. And that would have been the last thing that she learned when her aunt pulled her off would have been that, and then she would have learned it before she had to let Steve go. Mm-hmm. That would have made it feel, because it didn't have any weight to because the next thing she did was fly, so it didn't have any weight. That like the emotional weight they needed wasn't really there. Like in the first movie, I can save today, and you can save forever. You can save the world. Like that it was missing in this movie. Steve, I don't necessarily know if I liked him being in another person's body.
Right. It was weird.
Because
consent.
Right. 1 and 2, that's somebody's life. I mean, what happened to him? Like his family, was nobody looking for him? Like,
isn't that like a playoff of another 80s movie where somebody came back from the dead as somebody else? Like I think that was like another one of those because this movie did a lot of 80s tropes. I think that was one of the tropes.
But what I do like is the 80s campiness of this movie. This movie was overt. Like if there's such a thing as overly camp, and it as Ray was saying, it played really well with its 80s and camp. And then there was a thing, as much as people may not like Maxwell Lord, there was one time he did an evil laugh, and I was like, I love it. And I love it because if you watch any movie from the 80s or any TV show from the 80s, that full body evil laugh is what he did. And it took me back to a point. So yes, they
catchphrase.
Yes, the whole life is good, but it can be better. Like that whole thing is so 80s. Like, and the opening scene, the mall high session spoiled.
Can I just say, Landmark Mall has never looked so good. Like I was looking at that and I was like, shoot, I've eaten in that food court. Like I've been on that escalator. And that mall before they shut it down was dreary as fuck. Like it still had the little neon lights and stuff. Like
Right,
most of the stuff
right.
in there is probably still the original shit when they shut it down. But they brought so much life back, and I was just like, I would really like to visit that version of Landmark Mall because the one when I got here in 2003.
It wasn't good back in the day either.
Like, okay, well then I'm just gonna live with that one in my memory.
Listen, and
It was scary as hell.
to both your points, LaFont Plaza doesn't look that good in real life. It's one of the cleaner metros, but it's not the way it looked in that movie and the way LaFont Plaza is in real life. Hey, but
Also, I was wondering, did they, as somebody who did not come to DC until the 2000s, like in the 80s, did they have the little signs up that let you know how far away the train was and all of that stuff?
nah.
But didn't they have the line thing? Like, so you know how you ride the trains down
Yeah,
there?
it was
Those
the
line things were at the top, right?
yeah, the neon
Yeah.
lines, but it wasn't that sign that said 2 minutes. No, it was more like this train is coming, this train is coming. So yeah, it's one of those things that you can look away. So
I just want to say the villains yelling at the other villain killed me.
right.
When he picks up that little girl and the other one's just like,
right. Like, okay, we know we're not like he's like, I'm not going back. But I will tell you this though. In the first two halves of this movie, there was a lot of hope.
Mhm.
And I remember texting Bree and I was like, why can't Superman be like this? That's how it made me feel. And I was like, yo, why can't Superman be like this? Because what this movie showed is, so there are a lot of positives. What this movie showed is you can make a Superman movie.
Yeah.
You can.
When she saved the little girl in the beginning of the movie, like that seemed like Superman.
Yeah, when she turned to Steve and she told him, "Yo, put the sword down. It's not their fault." That's I mean, Zack Snyder doesn't do that, but that's you can make superhero movies, and what Ray said, it still at the end of the movie still felt very hopeful.
Very hopeful.
Because at that point, a lot of people had checked out, like, "Oh, I'm done watching this movie," but it still felt very hopeful, and I'm like, I could see a third Wonder Woman movie. That's how I felt at the end. So I'm gonna ask. Go ahead.
Before you ask your question, you mentioning Superman. So when I watched Superman and he first started flying, I kept asking the question, like, what is this cloud behind him every time he tries to take off? So I keep calling it a sonic fart. And so when like Diana started flying, I'm like telling Chris, like, see, she doesn't even need the sonic fart to like propel herself, even though she was hooking the lasso onto clouds and lightning, which
she was airbending.
Confused. I was just like, this is not, but okay.
I think she was still learning. I think because at the end of the movie, she was actually flying. But I think she was, I think visually, I think he did that in that movie to show Superman's super speed. Listen, Superman 1 worked without it. Superman 2 worked without it. A lot of Superman comics, and I'm sorry, not comics, animation have worked without that sonic fart. So you can still do it without, oh, this is how fast it's breaking this. Like, yeah.
He's flying. That's all we really
right.
I don't give a fuck about how fast he's flying. I mean, he's not levitating. So
exactly. But yeah, the movie still felt hopeful. So the question I'm gonna ask, right? So there's a general consensus online, right? Where people saw this movie and it's split. A lot of people are saying it's good. A lot of people are saying it's just trash. The question is, do you think we're in the era of superhero movies where there's no medium anymore? It's either, if it's not at this level, then it's just trash.
I want to say yes. And the reason why is since 2012, there's been a higher expectation of output when it comes to superhero movies.
So you're saying since Avengers?
Yeah, since Avengers. Well, actually, I want to say since Dark Knight.
Okay.
The first Dark Knight, not Dark Knight Rises. But at the same time, Like not throwing shade at this moment,
I
but
feel like you are.
no, I'm definitely not. I'm just trying to say when 2012 no, that was 2008.
Yeah,
8 or
Dark
9.
Knight was 2008.
Right. So when Dark Knight came along and you saw the performance that Heath Ledger made in that movie, plus the writing, right? You told a good story with Two-Face, and you grounded it, but made it appeasing to comic book lovers as well, right? Which is very tricky when you try to ground something comic book based, right? Um, so they did that. Then Iron Man came out, right? Which Iron Man was met with a lot of high regard with the writing of it and how it looked visually and everything. And then you flash forward, you have Avengers and the MCU evolves. The next thing you know, other movies start to evolve as well, right? So then you get Man of Steel, and you get a lot of complaints. It's because wait a minute, we had this level of something that was comic book based before. Why aren't you performing at this level, right? So then BVS comes out. Well, hang on, I'm not going to shade it because there's a lot of plus territory with BVS, and I shade that movie all the time. But I will say it does have its pluses compared to Man of Steel. True or false, right? And then you had the first Wonder Woman movie, which was amazing. Like the first Wonder Woman movie was amazing. Aquaman wasn't bad. Shazam wasn't bad. And then you have all these
Good.
shows, huh?
Shazam was good.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't bad. And so now you have a certain expectation, right? On top of you look at what we have on Netflix with shows like Umbrella Academy
Yeah.
or The Boys or so on and so forth, right? So now you have a certain level of expectation with superhero based material. Like you guys can make great content, so you have to up the ante. But in this situation, it's like no, we just kind of reverted back to Batman Returns, kind of like that kind of time frame with this.
So
And
you're saying if it's not good, so there's no medium for. I'm not necessarily saying
you
there's
have to approach this with the same effort that you approach every other superhero movie from 2012 on. You can't go like we're at a place now where we can't go back to Batman Forever or Superman
Batman
Returns.
Returns. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like we
Oh,
can't
no,
go
no,
back
don't
to that kind of stuff.
please.
Or
Superman
Fantastic
Returns.
Four, Rise of
Superman
Silver.
Returns is a really, really good movie. It's underrated. Next.
Yo, I hate you.
So, fine. We
I
can have this
probably
conversation later. But
Wait,
no,
is
no. I
that the
want to
one
see
where he's an
my
ancient
hand.
dad?
Yes.
that's the one
Yeah.
where he saves the hell out of Metropolis. Like super cool. It's
That's the one where she's like, he's your son. And Clark is like, fly away.
Okay, so Bree, do you want to answer the question for me? Is there a medium anymore? So if it's not good, it can't be in the middle. It has to be good or bad.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I
Mm.
do not care what anyone thinks. If I enjoy the movie, I enjoy the movie, and that's all I care
appreciate your
about.
conviction.
I agree.
I
Like,
appreciate your conviction.
Like,
That's fair.
is it like a perfect movie? Who knows?
But you
I
you
don't.
do have
I
you
just
do
like
have
it.
good and bad because you thought Brightburn was shit.
Wait, Brightburn? We don't
Yeah.
talk about that bullshit.
Never mind.
We're
Moving on.
not serving that up in
So,
here.
Bree has answered your question.
Yes.
Like,
Moving
I
on.
don't. If I enjoy it, then that's all I care. I don't care if it wins a Grammy. I don't care if it wins an Oscar. I don't know which awards it's supposed to be. If
Right.
I like
She
it,
doesn't
that's what
care.
I care about.
Golden Globes. So you are the fan they make the movies for then.
Yeah, I hate when people complain like, "Oh, that's just fan service." Yeah, bitch, I'm a fan.
That's fair.
Can we get like
Buying the
a cheer
ticket.
thing going? I'm a fan. Like, can we just get like some people going?
King. So are you with Bree? Are you with Kyle? Is there a medium for you?
I'm more with Bree. Because I'm really the one. I come out of movies and everybody's like, well, I say everybody, Lou and Aunt and
And
T. Will
yeah,
be
I
like,
know the
oh,
cast.
that was terrible. And I'm like, y'all just don't know how to, number one, like suspend disbelief for a
Right,
moment.
right.
It's a fucking movie based off of a comic book where people can fly and like do all kinds of like superhuman shit. Like, what are you expecting? I think there can be a medium, but I think because we have seen, like, we know what you can do now. So if it was just we were in a place where all of the DC movies were shit and all of the Marvel movies were great, then we'd be like, oh, okay, it's just DC. But we've seen them make some good movies. So it's like we know what you're capable of. I realize like the same person's not writing, producing, directing, but you can look at what the other person did and be like, okay, this is my baseline. I have to at least meet this. Like I can't just, dial it back or phone it in and give whatever. But yeah, I think there can be a medium, but I think the way that, you're going to have the folks like me and Bree who are like, I just want to see the shit that I'm going to enjoy. And then you're going to have people who are actually looking to critique and it's going to be good or it's going to be bad.
No,
honestly,
hear me out. Hold up. I actually want to enjoy. Like when I saw Wonder Woman, I didn't watch it to want to critique it. Like, but there were definitely like some issues there, like the 4th of July thing. Everybody could point out, dude, that was lazy. You get what I'm saying? Like Age of Ultron is not a good movie at all per movie standards with Marvel, but I like the movie. Why? Because Ultron was one of my favorite characters in the comics. So at the same time, I watched the movies hoping to enjoy them, but there is a certain level of writing and acting and everything that has gone into the superhero movies since 2012. And I think we all can agree with that, right?
And for me, it's difficult because I want to enjoy everything I watch. I come in ready to enjoy it, but because I always have to do a review, I have to also be honest with myself, and that's the part that kills me. That's why I almost don't want to do reviews anymore because I'm like, I just want to watch the movie to watch it, but then you have to sit down and think, okay, so this didn't make sense. No, I don't want. Again, as Keem said, it's a superhero movie, like. And Ray came in and said, Ray earlier said, I grade superhero movies different from the way I grade regular movies. And that's how I'm going to start moving forward now because they're not regular movies. As much as we want them to be, they're not. And they're from properties where there was an argument in chat at one point. Keem, you weren't in there. It was Zack Snyder had said something about the Flash shouldn't be able to pick somebody up running at super speed. Right? And I'm like, why do you make these movies? You should stop. Because
this is not for you.
He wants to add realistic physics to something that has years of comic book lore. Like, it doesn't mix. Same thing with the Superman fart. Like, it doesn't mix. Like, Superman's flying should just be like
Superman flying.
Yeah, it's like without any kind of effort, not him getting down a knee stance and the rocks are moving around him and all of a sudden he's flying. Like, what? No, what is this?
Up concrete. Now taxpayers got to pay to get the damn sidewalks fixed every time he lands.
Yeah, it's like I mean, and for all of that, we have The Boys, right? Where that happens, and it's okay. And even on The Boys, it happened earlier. No, in the last season where A-Train picked up what's his name's girlfriend and ran with her.
Spoiler.
And she
wait, did she like?
No, she didn't.
Her skin fall off? Oh.
No. And so it's like these are still comic book properties where we also have to, So, but if you look at the way the movie's built, and that's when you want to now look at it as a movie. And so now the question is, this movie, I'm going to ask for your grades, and I'm going to ask you if this was. And to King's point, there is a baseline. The baseline is Wonder Woman. 84 does not meet that standard to me. So to Kyle's point, both Keem and Kyle had mentioned this. 84 does not measure up. It has its enjoyability. You have fun with the movie. They have fun with its campiness. They have, it's a little more hopeful and a little more brighter, a little longer than Wonder Woman. Where do you rank this movie? Like, what is your grade? I'm not going to ask you about the DCU yet, but what is your grade?
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I was about to say anybody can go.
Keem.
So there is an old movie review podcast website that I used to watch. They've that went away, but he still has his own other thing, and he rated it on. No, it used to be Spill, but now it's Double Toasted.
Oh, okay.
And the way they rate movies is like, would I pay full price for this? Is this a matinee? Is it a rental? Is it some old bullshit? So when I was watching it last night, I was like, I would pay to rent this. I
Okay.
might pay to go see this in a matinee. If I paid full price, I would have been pissed off. But so I guess for that, maybe like a C plus. I give it like an average where I watched it, I enjoyed it, and then I was kind of thinking last night, like, because I didn't watch it when it came out like everybody else. I didn't watch it until last night. Um, so I got to see a lot of the people like, oh my God, this is bullshit. Worst movie. What were they thinking? And so I went in with low expectations, like, okay, well, let's see what this is going to be. And I enjoyed it. But I think part of the reason why I enjoyed it is because I watched it with someone that, like, we have our back and forth through the movies. So, like, at the beginning of the movie, when they're like, taking you into Themyscira, and I was like, man, Themyscira want to be Wakanda so bad. And so now we're sitting there like joking about that. So that adds to a little bit of the enjoyment for me.
Thank you for that point, because that's going to be another question at the end, because that's looking at the way movies are going. Yeah, so I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, so I would rate it as average. I'd give it a C. If it's on USA one day when I'm cleaning up, I'll leave it on. But it's not something that I'm just gonna like. And like I said, in the first movie, I saw it in the theaters, and there was like the moment where she just gets up and she's like, fuck this shit. I'm going to handle this shit myself. And she starts walking across. I didn't even realize I was crying, and I was crying in the movie theater. And I was like, what is that? I don't understand why this is happening. The woman beside me was crying. I heard people in the back sniffling. And I was like, okay, this is like some real women's empowerment shit right now. But like this one, I was just like, all right. Like,
That's fair. That's fair.
okay.
But Bree,
I feel like I have to say A after everything
I mean,
I've
if you
said.
don't say A, I would be so disappointed.
She could give it a B plus, and that's still passing. Like with.
What school you in? I mean, I still really loved it. It's obviously not Wonder Woman, the first movie, like, but I didn't want it to be. Like,
No, I wasn't.
I wasn't giving it that expectation because I feel like that's too much pressure.
So you were nicer on this movie than a lot of people are.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
okay.
It's me. On my Goodreads, it literally says I give everything like 4 or 5 stars. Like, I am not that critical. Like, when I don't like a movie, it's weird.
And that's how you know it's bad.
Yo, no, when everyone in the chat was like, "Oh, Brightburn," and Bree was like, "Get this fucking shit." This movie, I was actually very shook.
I hated Brightburn so much. I asked I watched it with my brother who likes horror movies, right? So I was like, okay. He wanted to watch it. He was like excited. I was like, okay, let's watch. Let's go. And he literally, like, do you remember what I said he said about it?
No.
He said it was like someone just put a picture of a big dick on the screen, and that's what he watched for 2 hours. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't that good.
And Bree thought
stupid.
BVS wasn't like. Bree thinks there's goodness in BVS, mind you.
My first time seeing Wonder Woman. Come on.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's
Wonder Woman was
that is the bright side of it.
One of my favorite parts was her like getting knocked down and then being like, yes, a real fight. And she does the smirk and gets up, and I was just like.
So Bree, you said this is an A?
It has to be.
Okay, that's fair. Kyle.
All right, so I got 2 ways how I did it. So I did a sliding scale for DC movies because you have to do a sliding scale for DC movies, right?
Oh.
So based on the sliding scale with DC movies, right, and the DC movies I count are BVS, Man of Steel, Aquaman, and Shazam, right, and Justice League, which booyah. So anyway. I'm never going to let that slide. Anyway, I give it a B minus based off of the sliding scale with DC. But as far as superhero movies post 2012, it gets a D plus.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I want to grade it higher. That's the sad part. Like it's Wonder Woman. I like it. You know what I mean? Like when Keem was mentioning earlier, like would you pay full price? Would you get a run or whatever? I would actually pay full price to watch this at the movie again because it was enjoyable. Like, but at the same time, as a superhero movie, and I'm comparing it next to every other superhero movie that's came out since 2012, it's really a D minus
That's
or
fair.
D plus.
That's fair. The next question I'm gonna ask is, I remember seeing Wonder Woman 3 times in the theaters, and I saw it at a screening. That was the first time I met Sam and everybody else, and there was a feeling after watching Wonder Woman. Like it's like I'm not a clapper.
Did you clap?
I clapped.
Oh,
I caught myself clapping at the end of. I was like,
I
"Are
didn't
my
even clap.
hands?
it's
Why are my
okay.
hands
It's
doing
okay,
this?"
Mo. I'm not a crier, so I get it.
I was motivated. Like I was like
Like
pumping at everything during that Wonder Woman movie.
after Wonder
I
Woman,
wish
I got up and I was like, "Yo," because I was there with Antonio. It was his first time meeting Antonio, meeting his friends, and there was an air of just and it could have been the movie. It could have been just. But do you think like the fact that there was no Group C? Do you think that affected? Because I think Patty Jenkins wanted the people to see this movie. Do you think the fact that there was no Group C, and you understand what I mean by Group C, like the whole theater experience, do you think that affects the way this movie was received?
yes.
Absolutely. Like number one, most people are probably watching it in their houses um, during what is probably the shittiest holiday season of their lives. Um,
Mm,
and so, like, you already have like this where you would probably usually start here. Like now it's already here. So they're already kind of in. And then,
oh, okay.
they've like hyped it up like, okay, so now Wonder Woman is going to be the one good thing that happens that I can, sit and enjoy and I can do it in my house. And then you see it and you're like, oh,
Mm.
okay.
I do think pushing it back so often and then having to watch it at home. And I had to watch it split up because they wanted dinner.
You sound so mad. There was
uh,
They split it up. And like, it's like, okay, you guys need breaks. Okay. Let's go. Break.
like, do you guys even watch movies? Like,
I do appreciate being able to get up to go pee and not miss the movie.
not miss
Yeah.
anything.
I 100% appreciate that.
No, you're supposed to dehydrate right before.
I'm in my house, okay? No,
No, at the movie theaters though, you don't get the extra
Yeah.
large whatever. Like
because
the
if I was
popcorn
sitting at the end, and you know how pissed I would be if I was sitting at the end and someone kept, oh, excuse me, I have to go every 5 minutes. I would cuss you out. I'd be like, no, sit on the floor and watch the movie from the floor. You're done.
but it's also 2.5 hours, which would be one of my gripes about it because I feel like there is some stuff that they could have cut out to make
Yes.
that.
Yes, that's
shorter.
fair.
The gym
Yeah.
scene, which I
No,
love.
I like
completely
the gym
unnecessary.
scene for a little bit, just because they had to show her. You know what would have killed me is if she did that workout, John Travolta and what's
Olivia
her-
and no, Jamie Curtis.
Yes, if they did in that movie, if she did that
Oh.
workout, I would have died. I would have 100% died.
But you know what? That is another 80s trope is the montage.
Yes.
And I thought that was super cute, like her going through the different levels. I wasn't mad at that one. I was mad at the and it's so funny because I just had this conversation before I watched about the invisible jet. I was like, so what's their budget going to be on the invisible jet? Because
$0.
like there's nothing to see.
Did anyone else love that she just stole a jet?
That
I
she
actually
just
did like that.
stole a
It's-
She
jet.
didn't even fucking hesitate. She was like, "Oh yeah, let's just take this one."
Yeah, and I was like, wait, did she just steal the jet?
I mean, you can tell that
She
she's
did.
lived in the real world for a
She was
while.
like, "Nothing gonna happen. We're fine."
Right. Where I would rank this movie, what I would rate this movie, I would give it a C plus. It is enjoyable. It is holy hell was it enjoyable. I was smiling a lot. And I will give King the point where, you come in because it's the pandemic and you can't really be with family. And if it was if this movie was supposed to come out on Christmas, you just had Christmas dinner or Christmas lunch. You know, you open gifts, and now you're going to the theater with your family and your friends, and so that whole excitement is there. But this, you know, it's you. This we needed this movie to give us something to kind of like be joyful about,
Yeah.
Extra. Yeah.
and so I can see where people are like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. There are worse movies. Don't Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Fantastic Four.
Which one?
now
Either. It
Any
doesn't
of them.
matter.
All of them. Bag them.
I like the Silver Surfer movie. Okay,
How? How?
I am the breed of I like because Silver Surfer is top 10 Marvel characters for me. I watched the animated show as a kid. Yes, Silver Surfer is up there for me. So
So
I
I like Silver Surfer. I did not like Silver Surfer in that movie. Neither did I like Wild Galactus. There was never
yeah,
mind. I'm
no,
about
yeah,
to
Wonder Woman. All right, so now let's do this. This is the part that I didn't want to do in the DCEU. Where's Wonder Woman 1984? I guess I'll go first. It's it's Wonder Woman because I feel like everybody was kind of uncomfortable for that. It has to be asked.
hang on.
It's Wonder Woman, right?
Right.
It's Shazam, honestly, truly. Aquaman. Don't be mad at me for that.
Actually, I'm with you so far.
Yeah,
So
I really liked Aquaman, and
yeah,
not just for abs.
I appreciate your honesty.
uh, so it's Wonder Woman, Shazam, Aquaman. What other DCEU movies are there?
I was
There,
Googling them now
there
because
was Justice
There's
League.
over
There was what's his name? Suicide Squad.
Birds
There
of
was Birds
Prey.
of Prey.
Suicide Squad is enjoyable as fuck. So that would be my fourth movie. Um, I would also give uh no, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess Wonder Woman 84 can go there, and then the rest can battle it out because I don't really want to rank those movies. Um, so yeah, Wonder Woman 84 is number 5.
Okay. So anybody want to go before me?
you go for it because you sound like you've got your life together, and I do not.
All right. So I have Wonder Woman 1 at number 1, Shazam number 2, Aquaman number 3, Wonder Woman 2 by whatever luck it is comes in at number 4. It comes in at 4. Think about it. Everything after that is Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, and Justice
Birds of
League.
Prey.
Yeah, Birds of Prey. So like it's definitely better than Birds of Prey by
I
leaps
love
and bounds.
how everyone kind of forgets that a Justice League movie happened.
I really did. I was just like, wait, Justice
Like,
League?
it's like,
You're
what else,
right.
Booyah!
what else came after that? Oh, Justice League. Wait a minute. Did we really get? I mean, because we're getting the Snyder cut on HBO Max.
They infiltrated us, okay? They made us believe that it's not real.
Oh, they Mandela effect us.
All right. So you have Wonder Woman 84 as number 4. That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
have no choice because they could.
No
like I
choice.
said, DC has a sliding scale. Like
It
you have
does.
to give them a sliding scale when you grade them. So Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, Birds of Prey. I feel like I'm missing something.
Justice League.
Justice League, right? So that's 5 movies. That's literally 5 movies I can't put lower than a trash can.
Damn.
Like, if somebody got paid for those, I just want to point that out to
A lot of
anybody
people got
listening
paid for
that's
those
struggling
movies.
right now. There are people that are millionaires that made money for making garbage. Meanwhile, you're struggling right now. So
Chase
anyway,
your dreams.
yes, chase your dreams because they obviously did, and they got paid for it. So,
All right. So Bree King.
Mine is
Um,
probably similar to his, actually.
thanks, Bree.
And then Birds of Prey for 5, I guess, because I really like Birds of Prey. So
Oh no,
Yeah.
I thought Birds of Prey was fun.
I would actually put Birds of Prey at number 4 and Wonder Woman 84 at number 5 because I enjoyed the fuck out of it. I was inspired. As soon as it was over, I made myself a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. Like,
yeah.
and so moving forward, there's 2 more things that we need to talk about before we leave. there's a sequel that's been fast tracked. Um, I
They should
think
take their time.
nah, they fast tracked it. I think they want to get it out so they can get it, because I think it's either they want to get it out before the Flash or they want to get the Flash. It's one of those things. If I don't know if it comes before the Flash, we don't have a date, but I also think they signed it because they want to bring back Patty Jenkins, and while they're still kind of hot because Patty's over at Disney now doing a Star Wars movie.
She is.
Yeah, she got signed to do. She did. Everyone was so excited during the announcement, Disney Plus announcement. There was another announcement from the DC movie people that they want to do 6 movies a year. Was it somewhere inside 6 movies a year? But they want to do four theater releases and 2 max releases. So we're gonna be getting a lot more max releases during the year. Where like the tentpole movies like a Aquaman, a Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, those will go to the theater releases, and then the smaller movies will come to Max. But back to the sequel, what do you hope for in the sequel?
More than this one. Um, no, I think I would like to see more action. I don't know that I necessarily need a whole bunch of build up slow scenes and stuff like that. Like just the time that she spent with Steve, that was cool. I ain't need that much. Like, she loves him. They're happy to be together. But I just really want to see Wonder Woman beat people up. So so that's what I'm here for. So I want to see more action. Um, I want to see more Themyscira.
Bree, Kyle.
I want other villains. Seriously, I want Cheetah to come back, but like in an actual cheetah thing, not as cats.
She was so jellicle for this.
Does she have a butthole? Because
Probably somewhere down there. I don't know. I'd want more. Okay, I don't think it's gonna happen because of just in general. I don't think Linda Carter's gonna come back as Asteria, but I would like that. Like as a mentor thing. Going back to Themyscira would be cool, but I don't know. I'm also fine with her like trying to do new shit instead. Or maybe get some gods. Oh wait, they're all dead. I really hated that part of the first movie.
That part I hated.
I hated the end of the first movie. Just
yeah,
they're all dead.
Right.
Well, is Monkey Paw? Well, you could do Monkey Paw, and I guess because of introducing him, you could introduce others.
Right. What do you?
yeah.
So what
Like,
is your hope for a sequel, Kyle?
Me, more character development with her. Like I feel like you could develop her character better without her being dependent on Chris Pine's character or a man in general.
I
Like,
am super excited for that.
yeah, you don't have to do. In order to have a woman led character, a woman led movie, you don't have to have it relationship dependent. And I really would like to see more of just her as a strong woman. I would like to keep the joy from the first 2 acts of this movie. This was perfect. Like as far as the tone in the first 2 acts, as far as I don't want to just say the campiness, but Wonder Woman comics sometimes can be campy.
They're
So
extremely campy. They're so ridiculous.
yeah, right. Come on, you can do that. That's fun. Keep that there, right? Like I want to watch that. If I go to a movie theater, I want to be happy and entertained, and that's entertaining, right? And just do more empowerment stuff. Like Wonder Woman 1 was the first was a great example of how you can do that. Even in Batman versus Superman, like she was still empowering. Like she was strong, she was independent by herself, and she was balanced. Even in Justice League, I can't believe I'm about to give them credit. They did a decent job. They did a lot to destroy her as a character, but they did a decent job making her strong and independent, right? So you could do more in Wonder Woman 3 with that. So that's my takeaways.
That's fair. I'm with King. We need more action, and I think Wonder Woman in general suffers because of her rogues gallery, and I think the movies will suffer. But I think there are so many ways you can go with all the stories for Wonder Woman. You can definitely, the fact that Kristen Wiig didn't die and the fact that we never saw her renounce a wish, you can bring her back. Wonder Woman needs a punchable person. We need to see Warrior Wonder Woman. We need to hear, because all the I saw someone post clips of all the animated movies, and I know you can't necessarily do a lot of those things in like real movies, but you
I've
need to
actually
give us. And I think that's why Cheetah was there for like a minute and a half. She just needed something to punch, you um, because in the first Wonder Woman, she necessarily didn't, but she fought. She
Yeah.
she fought. She fought the soldiers, and there wasn't a war going on in this movie, so you couldn't give her like soldiers to fight. But she needs like a punchable someone she can punch and they can punch back. So it'd be nice to see Cheetah come back. My if I had to like give an idea for a Wonder Woman movie, I think I talked to Brie about this earlier, would be to have Cersei, not the goddess Cersei, but Cersei the businesswoman Cersei. Kind of like it was a comic I read where Cersei had traded to get rich. She had traded with one of the gods, and the gods had tricked her and stole her daughter's face, and she needed to get to Themyscira, and she was gonna let the god into Themyscira, but she used Barbara to she tricked Barbara, gave her back the cheetah powers. It was something intelligent like that, but also give Wonder Woman something to fight, and then give her. It would take them back to Themyscira, and maybe like because I'm guessing if this is the third, this would probably be like the final one. Give Gal Gadot like a goodbye, like, oh, go back home with them mascara, and then maybe we get another warrior at the end of the movie, and that would probably be Nubia moving forward for the next phase of Wonder Womanhood. But I mean, definitely more action. This movie was lacking in the action department. So
Did
yeah,
you ever hear Josh Whedon's interview before he
no,
came over?
no.
Well, all right. So he mentioned this before about his issue with Avengers. Sometimes with punchy heroes, after a while, it gets difficult for them as a writer or them as a producer to just find new ways to show them punchy on
Hmm.
screen or on camera. So they have to get creative for them as writers and producers, not even for you watching it, but for them just creating it so that way it's not boring to them, like, and
Okay.
to make it visual. Also, I kind of saying that I kind of want to see more of a cerebral villain in the next one, more
So
Yeah.
than
Dr.
somebody
Psycho?
shoot a punch. Huh?
Dr. Psycho?
Actually, yeah, that would be
Something
good. Like
Psycho?
some, because here's something that I haven't seen
He's
within
a
the
Wonder
past.
Woman villain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
know.
saying it would be great because we haven't seen her intelligence really get tested. We know she's intelligent, but do you feel that we seen it get explored really on the show by
No,
a
I just want to say it better not be the fucking Grant Morrison Dr. Psycho because that shit pissed me off.
He was no,
If they do
no.
that shit, I will literally give it an F. It will be I would be so pissed.
Oh, so Patty Jenkins, if you ever watch this review, don't do Grant Morrison Dr. Psycho if that's what you're planning.
Don't
It
do it.
was such bullshit.
Because Bree is the only A you got on this review. So keep her
Don't let her down.
right.
Also,
Right.
there was this. I can't remember the exact scene now, but they had another Martha moment that just really
No, did they?
they did. And I might have to like skip through to see what it was.
How did I miss that?
It may have been when Steve made his comeback, but he still had like the guy's face, and he said something, and she's like, "Why
Oh,
did
you
you
can
say
say
that?"
you gave her the watch. Oh no,
Yeah.
before that,
And
before that,
before
he
he
was like,
gave her the
why'd you
watch,
say
he just
that?
started talking, and she's like, "I don't know you. Get away from me." And then he says something, and she's like, "Why did you
Why
say
did you
that?"
say that? Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
Why did you say that name?
and I was like, "Martha, why did you say that name?"
They did do that. Yeah.
One
I
thing,
want you
however,
to
that took me out this movie was some of the music choices, and I guess because Hans Zimmer scored it, he just took one of his songs from one of his movies. He took "Beautiful Lie" out of BVS and put it right at the end of this movie where she's talking to the world through Max Lord, and it
really
just
nice scene.
immediately took me out because I'm trying to place because I was like I've heard this before, and I'm trying to place it, and so I didn't pause the movie to try to like think about it. I played it, and it's so inside of me trying to place it. That was the one time in this movie that I was actually taken out of a scene because of something that happened in there.
I
That's
never noticed
crazy.
the music.
Huh?
I never noticed the music.
Oh well,
If I like the
that
song, I notice it.
that stood out because if you'd watched BVS as many times as I did, just to try to understand, because I watched the original and then I watched the extended, just to understand it. That beginning scene where Bruce Wayne's parents die again,
The pearls.
the pearls. But yeah, there it is. Is there anything else we could talk about? I think we've kind of explored this movie in a
Can we
way.
talk about how ridiculous some of those wishes were?
Yeah.
Oh, a
I
lot of
want
it.
nukes.
I wish you would die. I wish all your people would go back to your country.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, the nukes one did get me free. I was like, nigga, you
fucking
can wish for
die.
world peace. And instead of that, you're like,
I wanted him to
no,
wish for world peace because it would be funny, and then he made it funnier.
I want more nukes. Like, what the fuck?
And what about the guy that wished for a wall?
Well, we know who else would make that wish.
I think a lot of those wishes was kind of poking fun at him and his supporters stuff.
Yeah, I think so. It was like, I wish your people would go back to where they come from. Like,
It just
come
so
on.
happened the person was Italian that they were sending back. Like, we know what you were going at. Good job.
Italian.
Right.
They were Irish.
Well,
No.
yes, they were Irish.
Yeah, they
And
were Irish. You're right.
Irish
Because
came
it was the UK, right?
and it's also
Yeah.
it's very telling because the Irish did come through New York on Ellis, and they were like at the bottom of the bottom of potato people.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a lot of this they dealt with a lot.
Layers.
I don't know if I'd call this movie layered. I love it.
I'm
but I
not
don't know if
saying
I'd
layered.
say that.
I'm just saying there was a lot of like intentional, maybe unintentional, fun that they poked at the real world. I'm not gonna say layered. It was just a lot of fun.
I think I would have issues. Like, my wish would end up being, I wish you would get your hand off of me. Because I don't like people in my face. So if some
You
strange
live
dude
the
just
thing
walks
most
up like,
purchased
tell me
for
what you
that.
wish for. I wish a motherfucker would. That's my wish. Get off of me right now.
And it's funny how there were no black people in this movie because I'm pretty sure a lot of black
There was
people
one.
wish.
There was a token.
There was one. The one that did was one.
Did he get a wish? Because if he,
No.
yeah, he
Actually,
should.
there was a few black people, but I don't think any of them, but that mall cop had a talking role.
Yeah, the mall cop was like, "Help me! What do I do?"
The
Or-
only one I remember is the one that hired Barbara but didn't seem to remember her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who is
From
the
Insecure.
Insecure? Yeah,
Yeah,
remember me different. That's what I call her now.
right.
It was a white movie, okay?
It was 84 in DC was hella white. Is that what this movie? Anyways, thank you very
Maybe
much.
that's
Yeah,
They did not do diversity.
I'm
in
gonna
the
leave that. Oh well, I mean, that is a point. They didn't. One critique that I heard about this movie that kind of absolutely like got me blitzed was there is a group of people that want to explore Diana's sexuality.
Nobody's here for that. If you don't take your ass to Pornhub and watch the parody that I'm sure they will soon put out and get the fuck out of here, like, no, everybody's here to watch.
Looking it up.
All right. I wanted to get that point out because I saw a lot of people say, "Why wasn't this? Why didn't they explore, gayness?"
I mean, they
whatever.
already thought a lot of
She was
everything
still
was a
pining over the man that she lost, so she's not really thinking about women like that.
or just anybody in general.
Like, yeah, she legit just wanted to like mind her business,
But
stay out of.
she was kind of terrible in this movie because she did use Kyle Clark. What was his
Carl.
name? Carl. She used him, and I was like, "That's kind of
She
mean."
didn't even make friends. She didn't want no boyfriend, she didn't want no girlfriend, she didn't want no friend. She was lonely.
Right. But anyways, thank you very much thank you for making the time to do this review. Bree, King, Kyle, thank you so much for coming. Ray, thank you. Because Ray's in the UK, so good night and God bless. To everyone that watched this review, to all the people that made comments, there's a couple comments that said Let me show you this one.
I liked Captain Marvel too.
Like,
Oh wait, go back to his name. I saw prep time.
Enough prep time.
Love that guy.
but my thing is, right? Why?
I don't need to compare them.
Yes,
I
they're
can like them both.
totally different movies. Captain Marvel is a different movie from Wonder Woman 84. Even if it's set, Captain Marvel was 90s.
Mhm.
Wonder Woman is in the 80s. It's different. It's also just different. You know what? Whatever. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate them. And we will catch you on the next movie review. Maybe the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. Also, holler at us on Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias.
Yes, Earth2 Comic Cast on all the social medias.
Share and
Twitterless,
like and share.
Twitterless Bree, Twitterless
Smash
King.
that subscribe button. Sorry, I've just
Oh,
always wanted to say
whoa,
that.
whoa, whoa, and hit the bell so that when we post the video, you know, because
Yeah,
we be posting
subscribe.
mad videos. Like, come on now. But thank
Really
you for watching. We will catch you on the next review. We'll catch you. We got shows coming up. 2021 is going to be super busy with
Snyder
Disney
Cut.
Plus, Snyder Cut, Warner Media throwing all their movies on HBO Max. That means we're going to be reviewing them as a group because we're all probably going to see them at home, and it'll be interesting seeing if those movies will feel any different from this movie, or maybe because this is the first big blockbuster movie that comes on a streaming network. But we'll see. So I appreciate you guys coming.
Is it Mulan?
Yeah, Mulan.
Nobody cared about that movie.
Well, I think Disney tried to do a cash grab. Check out my blog. About trying to make people pay to watch something on a streaming service.
Oh, they
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I
And
mean,
everybody was like, "Well, wait."
because Wonder Woman did a date release type thing. It's the most earning movie of 2020. It's made the
Really?
most money, so it has positives going for it. It did drop on Rotten Tomatoes though. So
I wonder how many people, and this is just
Rotten
speculation.
Tomatoes buys off their critics.
What
I
did the
wonder how
Spanish say?
So you know how? All right, I don't know how many people ever did music or was in the music industry or whatever, but I had in my past I was a producer, so I know like a lot of labels. What they'll do is they'll buy X amount of copies of something, the release date of, so that way you can say, "Oh, this thing went gold already on the release of the album." I wonder how many of those Wonder Woman sales that they mentioned were actually bought by Disney accounts versus
Disney.
yeah, like actually Walt Disney, the company.
HBO.
No. I'm talking about Mulan. Remember how
Oh,
you talked about Mulan? I wonder how many of those sales were actually purchased by Disney just to say, "Oh, look at the numbers. Look how great we're doing," just to kind of encourage other people to buy it.
in
To
the
see,
And I bet they
reverse,
still didn't give a free copy to Shonda Rhimes.
in the reverse, Wonder Woman made a boatload of HBO Max subscriptions.
Mhm.
I wonder how many HBO emails were used to create those accounts. But subsequently, I think moving forward, I'd like to see how the release for 2021 will go with Warner Media, and how that will change the landscape of movies being released on a streaming service and theaters. But that is another discussion for another time. We are signing out of Wonder Woman 1984. We will catch you next the next review.